Hey everyone, Quentin's here for a new video. So today episode 2 of our 7-unit training to get started on the Davra EAP platform. So today's video we're going to talk about custom microservices. So one of the features of the platform is to be able to host some custom microservices. So in today's video we're going to just look through this tutorial and we will learn how to create and edit a microservice and then deploy it to production. Our microservice will be basically a data generator and will give a list of device UIDs, and every single minute we will push data points, random data points against these devices. Okay. So let's get started straight up. We're gonna go here in the service section of the platform, so by clicking on services. So as you can see here, I already have 2 services, but you can use just the button. Let me move my camera here, the plus, to be able to add a new microservice. Is what we're going to do now. I just move this back down there, and we will call that one the data generator. So data generator, create. So it automatically push us into the microservice page. So here we can see some details about the microservice, and when everything will be created, actually it makes more sense. But here will be where the production microservice logs will be filled. Here will be a kind of a little widget to test API request to be able to reach the microservice with some request, HTTP request. And here the button to access the IDE. So the IDE is where we're going to write the code for our microservice. This also place we'll be able to test it before deploying it. So we'll just jump straight up into the IDE, and yeah, this should be it. So we'll wait here, it's going to load. It'll take a little bit of time. So currently what is happening behind the scene is creating a workspace. So it's individual per user. So currently I'm logged in as an admin. But if you connect as another user and you go to the microservice, it'll create a separate workspace, which is really useful when multiple developers work on the same microservice, but you don't want to override someone else's work while they're kind of debugging and stuff like that. So that's a really nice feature. So right now it's just creating a container where we'll be the only one be able to edit the code there. And then behind the scenes there's GitLab, where we'll have to commit the code to a given branch, and then when we want to deploy the microservice to production, it will just use what's on the master branch of the repo and automatically deploy it. So I'll show you that in a few seconds. So actually in the meantime, while it's loading, what we're going to do is we're going to create some devices for today's. So if we go back here in the platform, we're gonna add 3 new devices for the demo, just logical demo. So it'll be device unit 2 1. So this one, just random here. We got another one, 2 up, and we're gonna add a third one, 3 up. So we're gonna use these devices, and especially their UIDs, to set a file inside our microservice, and basically the microservice will generate data points for these 3 devices. So now if I go to device listing, I should see these 3 new devices that I just created. So I'm gonna copy here up the UIDs up. Oops. Here of the devices. So yeah, let's go back here and see. So yeah. Alright, let's get back to our microservice when it's ready. Okay, so now let's see if our microservice is ready. Yes, it is. So we can see here we got a few files. The Docker file will be the Docker that's file that's run when we deploy the microservice to production. So it will use this node image, copy the microservice, run npm install and start.sh. The start.sh is basically just running node index.js, but there's some memory stuff in it, settings. And then we got the package.js and index.js what I'm going to use. Bit more details here of what we have. We got these root settings here, so it's to be able to test our workspace, so that the root we can see, we can reach from the outside. We got here an upload button to be able to upload files directly here into the IDE. We got here an HTTP client to be able to test requests, so try to get post, put, delete. We got a terminal here, which is really useful. This is where we'll be able to commit our code. And last but not least, we got here the list of builds. So currently we don't get a single build, but we'll change that soon. Okay, so following the tutorial here, we'll have to copy the content of the index.js. So you can find some sample code here in the github.com. So it's an open source repo, and we're just gonna copy the content of the unit2 index.js. So I'll run through the code quickly there. So basically every 60 seconds, it'll run this run automation function, which is gonna look at a list of device UIDs and generate some random data point. Then it would send this data point to the platform. Okay, so fairly simple, fairly basic. We're just gonna go here, paste it. So what it requires is request promise. It requires a file to be able to read the file. So this is where just a quick way to get the token inside the microservice. It's stored there. Don't have to worry much about it right now. It's an advanced concept. The API can be reached using this URL inside the microservice, so that will be really useful. And basically, if we run through the automation, we'll need a file called devices.json. This is where all the UIDs will be in. So I'm just gonna add my new file just right now. I'm gonna call it devices.json. And here in this file, basically, it'll be an array of UIDs, so that the UIDs I have just created, up, and the last one, EE91, that's the one I miss here, up, this file here. Alright, so this is exactly what we need. So basically it's going to read through these different UIDs and basically every minute push data points. So what type of data points is going to push? It's going to push the active power. So all the metrics we already saw in unit 1, so it will just be the same. So it's great because we'll be able to use later the application we created in unit 1 to visualize the new data and make sure everything works fine. So here we are. So I think it's all good. We can now work inside the terminal. So in the terminal, what we need to do is do an npm install -save request promises, just to install the library, missing libraries. So basically we'll run inside this terminal node, and that'll be kind of our dev environment. Once we're happy with it, we'll commit the code and deploy it. Okay, I think we need to install the rest of the dependencies actually from the package.json. So there's some others there that need to be installed. So we're just gonna run a simple npm install. Okay, and then now that it's finished, we can run npm node index.js. Hopefully there'll be no error. Okay, so as you can see here, just logging a few things here, the UIDs, and it starts sending data. So so if we go back to here and if we reload, we can see now some data has been started to be sent to these devices, and if I scroll a bit down, we start to have data for all active power, etc., etc. So that's perfectly, it's working fine. We're happy with what's going on, and we'll wait 1 minute to make sure the second batch is sent as well. So I mentioned the routine should be every minute. So let's wait. Actually, is it every minute or every hour? Let me double check that. Here it's like 67, so 60 seconds. Yeah, it should be every minute. Yeah, okay. So the second batch has been sent now. Very good. So we're happy with that. We can stop now. Let's look at our tutorial here to make sure we haven't forgot anything. We've created the data generator, we looked at the code, we created the devices at JSON, and we messed around inside the terminal. All good, all great. So now what we want is be able to deploy our microservice. And basically what's behind the scene is like GitLab. So each microservice has a GitLab repository linked to them, and the deployment is linked to the master branch of this this Git repo. So if I do a git status here, I will be able to see. Oh, okay. So there's a lot of files, as you can see. There's a node modules here. So I'm just gonna create a git ignore just to remove the node module. Up node modules. Okay. So now if we do git add dot git commit dash my microservice is ready. Okay. Git push. So basically here we commit on the master branch and then we push, git push up, all the file has been updated, so we should be all good and all ready to deploy. So to deploy the microservice now, we'll go here in builds, and basically we'll just press the build button and it will just get what's inside the master branch and deploy it. Alright. So we wait a few seconds, it will deploy, because at the first deploy it might take a bit longer than a few seconds. But if we go back here to our services and the generator, we should see here when it's ready, and some logs should start also being displayed here. One thing we'll need to do as well is to, inside the user, each microservice is basically a user. As you can see here, it's named by the name of the microservice. We'll have to assign a specific role to give access, our microservice to the different resources. To make it easier, here we're going to make it an administrator. So the microservice will have the same right as an administrator on the platform. So it will help us to be able to query the devices list, etc., etc. Just don't forget to do that. And now we can get back to the microservice page. Alright, so now we can see here in the microservice we got a few data points getting pushed every minute like expected. So every minute we got a new batch of data points sent for each devices. So now what we can do is, just to finish up this unit, is quickly talk about labels. So why do we use label in the platform? Is just to group certain type of entities. So we put labels on devices, we can put labels on data points, can put labels on applications, and then it'll be useful in next units to actually unit 5, where we gonna talk about permissions and how to restrict certain access to certain users. So but before that, what we're gonna do just to experiment today is here inside our device listing, we're gonna pick our unit 2 devices and we're gonna add a label on them. So unit, So we can create here, add a new label, but I already pre-created this label. So unit, and here unit 2, so you can add a new value or specific, it's going to be unit 2. Okay, so that device here, then we're going to go to that device, add unit 2, and basically what's happening is every time now we're going to push data point against that device, so data point will inherit all the labels of the device. So the data that been pushed previously would not have the data, the label attached to them, but the new data point coming in will have that label, and you'll see straight up in visualization. So just one more device, this one. Okay, unit 2, so that's perfect. Which one did I miss? Okay, this one. Add unit 2. Okay, perfect. Now we can go to application, and I think we can get the unit 1 application and go look at it there. So as you can see here, we got the data, all the data. For example, for this is the active power. What we can do now is add a new filter. So you can manage filters there, and we're gonna add a filter. So currently we got the device filter here, but you can see we can add like different type of filters, and we're gonna pick here the unit 1, which is our label. Okay. And now, if we want, we can say, okay, just give me the unit 2 data points. And as you can see here, we only have 2 data points. So if we query here the last 24 hours, we only have 2 data points. It's been the last 2 minutes. Okay, so right now it's like 4:19. Where am I? And just you can see, just only 2 data points. So that's kind of it. We use now active power to labels to filter certain type of data, and if we remove and we show me any type of unit, boom, we got all the data. So that's just kind of a quick view on how label can be used to filter some type of data, and there'll be more stuff to come, and even here, so for example we go unit 1, and we unit 2, so we can like have the mix of 2 different filters. So we want the device unit 1, the device unit 2.3, sorry, and also the data point with the label 2. And we know there have been previous data in the past, previous data. Okay, so yeah, that's it for that unit. So just to go back there, we viewed here how to filter using specific label. So that's it for that unit on microservices. The next one will be about digital twins. So to use digital twins with devices and applications, stuff like that, labels will be a key aspect of it. That's why I want to bring it up at the end of this video. Next video will be out next week. So looking forward to get your feedback. Bye.